the biggest challenge is to try to figure out what you actually want, right?
Yes.
Everyone struggles with that.
Yeah, but I get to see these transformations in people really before my eyes.
Carson, welcome to the show.
Hey, Austin, it's a pleasure to be here.
Dude, I feel like this has been way overdue. I am super excited to have you on the show and talk about, I kind of went into this podcast thinking that there are many, many different things that we could talk about. But I think initially the thing that I'm most interested in is how did you go from being the CEO of a hat company, direct-to-consumer hat company, to getting so interested in meditation, which we're going to dive into and talk about today?
Yeah, great question. This is a common one I get. So like, how'd you get into all this? Yeah, to be honest, it wasn't really by choice. It's roughly, it'll be 4 years in March, actually. Wow. Yeah, I was on the startup grind. Actually, I had winding down one startup and beginning 10th Street, actually. And
the first startup was Brickell, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Brickell solar backpacks. A lot of fun, and that's actually where I met you for the first time long ago at an intensive. We were winding that down. 10th Street was kicking off, and I was just burning the midnight oil a little too much. And out of nowhere, I had a panic attack, and actually it happened during my sleep. I was having a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from, and when I woke up, I was crying uncontrollably, and I thought I lost my mind, to be honest. It was the scariest moment of my life. I think it was the world the universe telling me I got to look inward and fix something. And so, I went on a pilgrimage to learn and, get back to me being me. And I had every form of Western medicine test trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And I got some great advice from a doctor who was an MD in Eastern and Western medicine. And he said, you need to invest in the skill of breathing. And I was like, okay. Like, I had dabbled in some mindfulness and meditation before. I'd done some Wim Hof in my background a little bit, but I took that and ran with it. And out of everything I tried, I worked with a shaman, yoga, all sorts of nutrition and healthy routines. I found this form of breath work that really had a profound impact on me. And I took that training, got trained to be a facilitator, and then combined it with the other modalities I learned along the way from myself, kind of taking the best of everything impacted me. And it was right at the beginning of COVID, actually, when I got trained. And I just started offering sessions to friends and family to deal with the stress of the new environment and the chaos and the pandemic. And people loved it. And people started referring their friends and family. And then those people started referring people. And people started sending me gifts and paying me. And I was like, okay, I think I'm on to something here. And I was extremely passionate about it. I love doing it. And I was like, all right, let me take my kind of brand marketing background and combine it with this practice. And that's what I founded Create Meditation, where I offer these sessions all through Zoom. And I can go into more detail about exactly what that is, but it's been a journey. I love it. And it was a pleasure working as part of an advisor to the accelerator programs you have, working with those business owners. And
it was one of the most exciting things about the accelerator program is that we kind of partnered with you. So, our connection has gone way back, and we met years ago. You said you came to one of the intensives. I knew you entirely in like the business sense, because I think you don't have the traditional path to being a meditation teacher, right? Or practitioner. It's like you were like hard on the startup grind. You had a company called Brickell, which is when I met you. And then I also got connected with you when we came out and did an intensive here in Austin as you got a full-time day job as the CEO of a pretty fast-growing direct-to-consumer hat company, where you guys are, half of your life is in the marketing, e-commerce, grind, and then the other half is on the meditation side. And it's been really interesting watching that transition. I had you come in, I partnered with you, and you came in and you worked with our clients, but it was very interesting. I had some, I don't know, just like a ping. I was like, you know what? I should like reach out to Carson and see if he wants to be involved with our program. You end up partnering, doing your meditation with almost everybody in our program. And at the end, in our type form survey after the accelerator, with like at the end of this survey, we asked people like, what's your favorite part? And like almost everybody mentioned you as one of the favorite parts of the accelerator, was like working with you to get clear on the goals that they have in their life and in their business and what's holding them back. And my own personal experience working with you, it was a very, very powerful experience. So all of that said, to give some background and context, it's super interesting watching this evolution. And right now, you launched Create Meditation, but what excites you the most about the potential of meditation to help entrepreneurs?
Yeah, great question. 100% for me is I feel extremely lucky and grateful that I get to see these transformations in people really before my eyes. Some people I work with on a weekly basis, some every other week, but really being able to see people evolve and become the best versions of themselves and create the life they've always wanted, hence the name Create Meditation. It's just amazing to see. And right now you mentioned like balancing the workload. I do sessions very early in the morning, sometimes 5 a.m., get a couple in the morning with, instead of clients, I like to call them our creators. And usually can get one in early evening in the middle of the normal work days for, selling hats. But where I see this going is I want to have an impact on as many people as I can. And I've probably written this affirmation down and listened to it 2,000, 3,000 times, but I really do want to bring unlimited joy, love, peace, and gratitude into the world through Create Meditation. Yeah, the plan is to have other guides that I train that can facilitate one-on-one sessions. Also, I've worked with 7 businesses now, so group sessions, and this has all been through Zoom. But I see this evolving potentially with some like create events, and you can have a lot of people together. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this all goes.
I want to talk a little bit about maybe some of the hesitations that people are like thinking in their mind, because meditation, right? I think a lot of people have this view of meditation is like, I'm sitting on a chair, I'm cross-legged, and I'm just trying to like stop my mind from racing. My experience working with you is quite a bit different. Maybe what is the difference between, you mentioned that you've gone down and did a bunch of different modalities to try to find something that works for you. What is so interesting, or what's the difference between what you're doing and maybe the traditional meditation that people might think of when they think about meditation?
Yeah. Meditation and mindfulness, by the way, I just want to put it out there, like anything that you might be doing as a listener, great. I really feel all investment in the time, even just being aware of your breath. Just taking the time in the day to be aware of your breathing. I really feel developing that skill and kind of understanding the science of the breath is a very important thing. I think what differentiates our experience, this is coming from the creator's feedback. One is you're breathing to music that you love. It's about 30 minutes of the kind of 60 to 90 minute session. It is a very active form of breathing. So it's not like a sit back and like Zen sitting on a chair. You're definitely putting some work in with the breath work. But you get to choose songs that bring you joy and move you, which I think is very different. There's people usually meditating to some, kind of Zen music or nothing at all. But, I just did a session because the Super Bowl just happened. I had multiple people send me Dr. Dre for their new playlist. Rufus Du Soul's been very popular as of late, but people send Beatles, country, whatever genre. Yeah. So people love breathing and, meditating to music that they love. But there's 2 other big components or pillars of Create Meditation. One, the beginning is the connecting part. And that's where we're going to be connecting the mind and body. And that's probably a little more similar to maybe like, let's say, a guided meditation. What we're doing there is the heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain does to the heart. So when people talk about that knowing, that gut feeling, that intuition that we all sometimes feel, that is a very real thing. So we tap into that to the beginning, connecting. The second pillar is the breathing. So connect and then breathe, and that's where you'll be breathing actively with your music. And then the last part is the create. So you're going to be in this elevated emotional state after the breathing, and then you're going to walk you through visualizing the life you want to create a year from now. I should also say in there before the breathing, there's a nature journey where we're going to be priming those visualization muscles, walking through your 5 senses in a place you feel very connected to in nature. But yeah, that's kind of in a summary what a session looks like.
And I think I'll go to the next step of what I can share my own experience, right? So, like I said, we got connected, and then I was like, I should reach out to Carson, and we set up a session. And I think the thing that's interesting to me is I've done mindfulness practices for a long time, but never really got like super consistent with more passive meditation. It just has been challenging for me. Sitting around like 15 minutes is like kind of the max. Usually it's like 10 minutes of me being able to sit there. What's interesting is like the difference between active and passive. The active breathing, for somebody who's listening and they're like, what does it mean to be in touch with your breath, right? Like that can be really challenging. And I think what I feel and what I felt from working with you is clarity, right? It's like, it's active breathing that puts you in a place where you can turn off, or not necessarily, maybe not turn off, but you can turn down the outside noise and turn up what I will call like inside signal, or the signal that your body or your mind is telling you. And we all have things in our life that are like kind of whispering to us, right? Maybe that's something, maybe it's your elbow that is kind of giving you a little bit of pain. It's not that big of a deal right now. You can kind of work through it and you just kind of stretch it, but you notice that, oh, there's something there, but you ignore it because, well, you've got work to do. Or it's something else, right? Maybe a relationship or whatever. There's all these little whispers in your life that are telling you that you should pay attention to them. What I've noticed from going through this active meditation with you was that it amplifies the whispers and shuts down kind of the noise to be able to really listen to what's true in your life and help make a decision that is based more on truth, like your own personal truth about what you want and what you're looking for to bring more into your life. So that's my testimonial for it. And I think that from many of the people that have worked, the reason why I wanted to bring it to the people that I work with in my accelerator program is that when I think about business, I think about one of the biggest challenges is to try to figure out what you actually want. Right? Yes. Everyone struggles with that.
Yeah. Now that's actually a perfect segue into, I should bring up a big part of these sessions. There is a questionnaire that you fill out. And this is extremely important. A couple other questions are involved with an I am statement, a create statement, your intention, a couple other questions where we're really digging to the underlying, trying to figure out, you said like that clarity of like, where's your North Star? Where do you actually want to go? Because a lot of people, I think we, especially entrepreneurs, we're on the grind, like we're running this race or climbing this mountain when I don't really think we know that there doesn't need to be a top of a mountain or an end of a race, but it's just like we're just on it, running, and we're not really sure where we're going. So one, we kind of really dig deep to find that true North Star of where you want to go. And then number 2 is, why do you want to go there? And when you have those 2 things really clear in your mind, then life becomes quite simple on where you're going to put your most valuable resources, your time. It's like, and opportunities come up. Is this going to help me lead me to my North Star? Is it aligned with my why and my personal values of why I'm doing this? If it's a yes, I'm going to put my time there. If it's a no, no. So you bring up these questions we answer at the beginning. they are the instructions for your subconscious. Our subconscious is the greatest supercomputer on the planet. It knows, like, when you're born, just to start building out your body and your bones and your organs. And the great thing is that it has no rational thought, meaning whatever you give it is going to take as the truth. So as you mentioned, that clarity in those whispers, what ends up happening while you're breathing to the music and you're in this active state, your kind of monkey mind, your active beta mind starts to shut down. And during that crossover into the lower waves, we can kind of reprogram the subconscious with all of the things you wanted to work on from the questionnaire. So I'm layering in all of these affirmations of what you want to become, what you want to create, your intentions. And that's really, as you mentioned, it kind of helps bubble to the surface those little whispers. I love that you use the word whispers, because that's one of the things I say is listen to the whispers of your soul, because it really is like the universe kind of giving us these little breadcrumbs leading us to where we want to go.
It's true.
Yeah. So the clarity, that is top 2 probably benefits that I hear over and over, is the clarity that people have, whether it's on their business and their life, a decision they need to make. Like, the breath shows us something that we need to, put our intention on.
I think I tend to be on an overthinker, so that's probably why the clarity comes from that. I'll share something that I heard that was really a pretty epic description of life from, I think it was Naval. And Naval was talking about how the greatest creators are the most inspiring creators that he knows think about life different than the average person. And he said, for most people, life is, especially if you're an entrepreneur, it's like climbing a mountain, right? Climbing a mountain, and you set yourself up on the trail, and you start at the bottom, you see the peak, and then you start climbing. But if you've ever gone out and climbed a mountain before, you know that for most of the time you're climbing, you don't see the peak. In fact, you go into like fog and trees and all these different things, and you can't really see the peak. But at a certain point, right, you'll usually come around a corner or whatever and come out of the fog, and you'll be able to see from where you're standing up to the peak. And what he said was that often what happens is you climb and you climb and you climb, and you get to a spot where you can see the peak, and then you realize, I'm not going to be able to make it to the peak from the trail that I took, from the path that I took. And you have a choice. And the choice is to continue trudging in the same direction because you've already made this commitment, or it's to turn back around, go back down, and start up with a new trail, a new path to the top, with the new information that you gathered from the previous time that you were hiking. And that, to me, resonated extremely, extremely well with me. And what you're doing, creating space for people and help, this is what I think breath work does for me, in any sort of like altered state can also produce something similar, where it's like, all right, it's an ability to have the vantage point from where you are to the summit, and then you get to make that decision if you're going to go back down or if you're going to continue to trudge.
Yes.
And that's a tough decision to make.
Yeah, no, and you hit the nail on the head about looking at the different paths to the top. And I'd like to even add something to that perspective with the mountaintop example, that a lot of times people put this mountaintop on a pedestal. And then once
Yes.
they get there, guess what? They have the feeling of, well, now what?
It's a false summit.
That happens over and over and over and over and over again. And guess what? A lot of people, they go try to climb a new mountain thinking that that's going to be the answer. And then they climb that mountain and they're like, well, now what? So
a bigger mountain.
Yeah, exactly. A bigger mountain.
It's got to be a bigger one. It's got to be a bigger one.
Just comes into that having that mindset, it will never be enough, right? And I think finding the peace to, this is a skill that I repeat to the people I work with, and I try to cultivate myself, is being okay with just being, as we're entrepreneurs. We like to do things, we like to create things, and we're just kind of go, go, go. But like, it's a skill just to actually be in the present and just to really enjoy the moment of climbing. And I like to have it where life, there is no top of the mountain, but it is a climb. But can you cultivate the awareness that you're going to enjoy the climb or whatever you're working on? And it doesn't necessarily need to be a climb either. I'm actually going to pull something from Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights book. There's a chapter in there that called The Art of Running Downhill. And that kind of plays in a little bit to like being okay with just being like, all right, you've worked really hard, you climbed, and now like everything happening is great and you're going downhill, but you still want to go back to what you know how to do is grind and do more and more and more. It's like, no. Just, can you just be and enjoy the downhill when the downhill is there? Because guess what? There will be a new mountain or a new hill that's going to come your way in life that you're going to have to climb again. So
for you, right? I think this is one of the hesitations I've had people tell me. They're like, well, I don't want to lose my edge, right? I don't want to lose my edge. I've got this edge. And then I see you are running a company, a CEO of a e-commerce company. You, in your spare time, have been helping people with meditation. You started another company. You also are up like early as hell, like boxing and taking care of your fitness. It seems like you have a lot that you're doing, and you're also being. How do you think about the balance between the two things? And how do you do this while maintaining a full plate?
So this is a perfect setup for something that I wanted to make sure to discuss. And this is, you're right, the hesitation of, I don't have that 60 or 90 minutes, or I don't have time to meditate. It's a common thing. People are like, I don't have the time.
Yeah.
When you cultivate mindfulness in your day-to-day life, or even just a couple times a week, you gain more time. I don't know exactly the science behind it, but the more awareness that I've been able to develop from cultivating living in the present, because time is just a perception, right?
Yes.
And maybe it's that when you're living more in the present.
What do you mean by that? 'Cause some people are going to push back on time is just perception. I agree,
yeah.
but
So,
how would you define that?
We've all had those moments when like time is flying by. Like we're having fun. And it's like, oh my God, we just, played a game for 3 hours, or at the beach, like playing volleyball. And it's like, oh, that time flew by. And there's other times where like, you can all remember being in class at some point in our lives. It's like looking at the ticking clock being like, this will not go fast enough.
Yes.
So it's in those moments, like your mind, and I think it comes to being fully immersed in whatever you're doing. Then maybe it's you become like ultra more productive and efficient with your time if you are living more in the present. When I think about maybe with work stuff, maybe I just get stuff done at a lot faster clip than I used to because my mind's fully in that moment. But that's kind of my pushback to people that say like, I don't want to lose my edge, or I don't have enough time. It's like, no, you actually will gain more time.
It's a wild thing to think about, but I mean, the whole time is a perception thing. I am totally on board with that. It's something I realized this summer, and I've taken forward with me, is that time and days are not equal. And what I mean by that is we had some wonderful days this summer with our friends. We spent about almost 6 weeks in Europe, traveling around, working from there. And we had 2 couples visit us for a good chunk of time. And we had some days where we'd spend like the whole day out on a boat, or like walking around cities. And I was like, okay, I would trade one of like this one day for like 25 just normal days. Yeah. Right? Because it's not equivalent. We had so much fun. 25 times more memories were created in one day than in 25 normal days. And I've been kind of leaning into that a little bit more, where I'm like, well, every day is good. It doesn't mean it's a bad day or anything like that. But some time is more valuable than others. And how can I figure out how to optimize my life to be able to create those moments that I am going to remember? I am going to look back on as more valuable. I don't know. How do you think about that? Do you share a similar viewpoint? Do you treat every day as equal? Has it changed your viewpoint at all on this whole thing?
It's a really interesting question. I'm actually not, I'm a little allergic to structured schedules in the sense that, yes, I do get up early and like to work. Like there's certain things I do, but the exact time I do them is not, exactly the same. Where I think I'm at my best when I'm almost like a river, where you're in the flow of life and allowing you to, with like some structure along the way. That's kind of how it ends with the pandemic, to be honest. Like the weekends and the weekdays, it all kind of can blend together. But you hit a great point on the times that are the joy and the love and the experience, the peak experiences that we all have had and we love. How can we bring more of those into our life? I think that's a little bit of looking inward on what's important. Like you just said for yourself, and we talked about a little bit before hopping on here about creating more space, which is huge. So now you're right, all this, that does take work to create space, and you are very much a systems guy. Like it is important to create boundaries and systems that you do allow to kind of have that space. And then with that space, you can do those things that fill you up. And I like to start, the very first thing I tell people that I work with, I ask them about the champagne tower analogy. And
yes,
and what it is most of the time we put ourselves last on our like to-do list. It's like friends come first, work come first, family comes first. We always put ourselves last. And I really like to flip that on its head by you are the top glass in the champagne tower. And when you choose to fill up your own cup first, it's going to overflow and it's going to fill up the cups of the people closest in your life. And then their cups are going to fill up. And then it's going to fill up around and have this cascading positive effect in society. You're not being selfish by choosing to fill up your own cup first. You're just choosing self-care. And when you do that, you're going to show up as the best version of you in all areas of your life. You're going to be more efficient at work. You're going to be a better, partner, husband, wife, friend, son or daughter, all those things. So creating that space, I think, is just, can you now have time to fill your cup up? And then I think you'll have more of those kind of joyful kind of peak days when you're operating with a full cup. I think that's a good place to be at.
I actually used that when I was thinking through my goals for this year and setting up my priorities. My top priorities this year are like my physical health, my relationships, and work, in that order. And because kind of thinking through the champagne tower analogy, I was thinking, okay, well, how do I make sure that I maintain those as my top priorities? So what I've been doing is just doing them in order. Normally I would flip it around and I'd be like work first, but I was like, no, I'm not going to be able to do this. So if I really care about this in this order and I really want to fill my cup first, it's exercise first. It's take care of myself first. Then it's do something for my relationships second, and then start work. And that's been really challenging to help me rewire a little bit, because for a long time I was just like, wake up, get to work. Yeah. And then work out later, which is a good schedule. It works for me sometimes, but I definitely have the tendency to just let work dominate the day if that's my structure, right? If I start with work, the momentum continues there. I think would be really interesting, Carson, we've talked a lot about it, but I know you mentioned it's been a possibility to do a little bit of a meditation. So right at the end, we will go into this and we'll do a little demo, because I think one of the problems is that it can be really hard to conceptualize what it is without actually doing it. So I always recommend people, they need to actually do this and then have a judgment after they've done it, because it's almost impossible to explain. So, I know that you are interested in offering some sessions to people who are
Yes,
listening.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, as my thank you to you, Austin, honestly, for all the work you've done and the help you provided to the entire e-commerce community, and then to my fellow entrepreneurs out there that are, on the grind. I wanted to offer to the first 20 people that filled out a form on the Create Meditation website, and if you put how you heard about us, if you put e-commerce influence, yeah, I'm going to offer 20 free sessions. It's kind of my way of giving back and serving the community. And I honestly, I love doing them. It fills me up. So hope to get a chance to meet some of you listeners. And yeah, that's kind of my gift to you guys.
And I highly, highly, highly recommend that you go and do that, especially if you have a lot on your plate. So for you, if you're listening and you're like, you know what, I don't have time to do an hour-long meditation, that is a signal that you definitely should go and sign up and do it. I have this saying that it's, if you ever have the thought of hiring a personal trainer, you're like, oh, I should hire a personal trainer. You definitely should go hire a personal trainer. And I feel the same thing with, like, if you ever or feel really, really busy, you should definitely go and do some meditation and sign up for this. So I'm highly, highly recommending this, and I implore you to take advantage of it. So why don't we go in, and I know you said you can do a little bit of a demo. So if you're listening to this on the road and you're driving, this is probably the time when you should pause it.
I was going to say that.
And come back to it another time. But if you have the time and the space and you can set yourself up to be a little bit more comfortable and do a little meditation, then this would be an awesome, awesome time to do it. So I'll pass it over to you, Carson, and you can kind of set us up.
Yeah. So the next about 15 minutes will be the connecting part of the experience. We won't do any active breathing with music. That's after this part. But I think this connecting part will really kind of help you feel centered, feel grounded. And it's just a quick kind of activity for everyone. If you're listening, you can think about it in your head, or you can write it down. Just a couple of these things, because they'll be incorporated, is think of an I am statement for yourself. Something like one word that you want to embody, to become. Some examples might be, I am free. I am strong. I am love. Something that you want to embody. So have an I am statement. You can think about it or write it down. Statement 2 would be a create statement. What is something you want to create in your life? Like, we have truly the ability to create anything we want. Like, all we are is energy. Everything around us is energy. So a create blank. I want to create freedom in my life. I want to create more time. I want to create love, create joy. And then the last one is think about your intention. What I mean by intention, and that could be your intention for the next 15 minutes. Maybe your intention for the day, depending on when you're listening to this, or maybe your intention with your business, just your intention in life. Think about your intention. I know it's very broad, and as a great default one, it's kind of just like a letting go. Your intention, I just want to let go and kind of surrender to the next 15 minutes to let it unfold. So keep those 3 things in mind. It's an I am, and a create, and an intention. And I'm going to move my mic over, get a little full on my voice. And yeah, you can be sitting in a chair is fine. If you're really feeling you want to go for it, you can lie down on your back, on the couch, bed, floor. But yeah, this next part will just be a nice connection inward for about 12 to 15 minutes. I invite you to close your eyes. And I really want you to allow yourself and give yourself permission to really be here. Settle into the space. Settle into your body. Let go of any expectations. Let go of work. Let go of your to-do list. Just let go and allow yourself to be here. We're going to do a quick body scan starting from the top of your head, working your way down your body, and see if you can find any tightness or stiffness. And if you find any, see if you can breathe some intention into that area just to let go and release. We're going to do a couple rounds of breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Just follow my voice. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do a couple more rounds on your own. And as you breathe, see if you can receive the breath. A lot of times in life we take a breath. I want you to allow your body and mind to receive the breath. And as you receive the breath, I want you to see if you can notice the breath. See if you can touch your breath with your mind. Noticing it come in your nose. Notice it leaving your mouth on the exhale. And as you notice your breath, see if you notice any difference now. Maybe it's a little lighter, a little softer. Maybe you feel your heart space open up. Now on your next inhale in, I want you to imagine you're breathing in universal white light. And as you breathe it in, I want you to imagine it's coming into your body through all the pores in your skin, on your arms, your legs, your torso, your face. And as it enters your body, the white light zigzags in between all your cells and comes together as a ball of white light 3 inches behind your navel, 3 inches behind your belly button. And on the exhale, you let go of all the stagnant energy in your body. It evaporates into smoke and leaves your body through all the pores in your skin. And you let it go to the edge of the universe. Here we go. Inhale in. Feel this warm white light come into your body through all the pores in your skin, zigzagging between all your cells, coming together as a ball of white light 3 inches beneath your navel. And as you exhale, you let go of all that stagnant energy in your body. It evaporates into smoke and leaves your body through all the pores in your skin, and you let it go to the edge of the universe. Inhale in. Feel this warm white light come into your body through all the pores in your skin, zigzagging in between all your cells, coming together as a ball of white light 3 inches behind your navel. And as you exhale, you let go of all the stagnant energy in your body, and it evaporates into smoke and leaves your body through all the pores in your skin, and you let it go to the edge of the universe. Now on your next inhale in, I want you to imagine you're breathing in warm green light. Inhale through the nose.
Feel this warm green light travel up your nose, your cheeks, your temples, and like warm candle wax, you feel it flow down your temples, down your cheeks, down your jawline, and you feel your jaw just relax and let go. You feel your temples soften and release any stress and tension. You feel your forehead smooth out. Your eyes get heavy. Your head gets heavy. Inhale through the nose. Feel this warm green light travel up your nose, your cheeks, your temples, and flow to the back of your head. And like a warm liquid green waterfall, you feel it flow down the back of your neck, down each shoulder, and you feel your shoulders just drop and let go. Inhale through the nose. Feel this warm green light travel down your throat, down each shoulder, down each arm, your biceps, your triceps, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your hands. Now on your next inhale in, I want you to imagine this warm green light is traveling back up your arms. Inhale in. Feel this warm green light travel up your arms, your forearms, your elbows, your biceps, your triceps, flowing up into your shoulders, coming down your chest, coming together as one to create a large sphere of warm green light surrounding your heart. And as you breathe, you feel your heart space get a little bit warmer, and a little bit warmer, and a little bit warmer. Inhale through the nose. Feel this warm green light travel down your throat, down your chest, down into your stomach, warming up your digestive tract, zigzagging back and forth, flowing down your sides to your lower back, all the way down to your hips and glutes, and you feel everything just let go and release. Unclench. Inhale through the nose. Feel this warm green light travel down your throat, down your chest, down your torso, all the way down to each leg, your hamstrings, your quads, your knees, your shins, your calves, your ankles, all the way down to your feet. Now I want you to imagine there's a river of warm green light flowing throughout your entire body, flowing up your legs, up your torso, down each arm, up your chest, up your neck, to the very top of your head. Now I want you to imagine there's a beam of warm green light coming down from the heavens like a big tube coming down through the ceiling, right through the top of your head, or if you're lying down, right into your heart, coming right into your heart space. You feel this warmth and energy filling you up. And as you breathe, you feel your heart space open up, and a beautiful green flower sprouts right out of your heart. And it continues to bloom and bloom, bigger and bigger and more beautiful. Now I want you to take your intention and your I am statement and your create statement, and I want you to plant it like a seed right inside your heart. Feel your intention, your I am, and your create fill up your heart space. And I want you to let go and surrender to the breath. Surrender to the unknown. knowing, having faith and trust that anything is possible because you have the power to change and create anything you want. And like a ripple in a lake, you feel your intention, your I am, and your create start to spread out from your heart, rippling down your torso, down each leg, all the way down to your feet, rippling down your sides, down your arms, all the way down to your hands, rippling up your chest, up your neck to the very top of your head, and rippling out vertically above your heart, expanding out into the universe, expanding out into the limitless potential, filling every cell in your body with your intention. Now I want you to slowly come back to this space. Come back to your body. And slowly open your eyes.
So how you feeling over there?
That's great. Thank you, man, for hopping on and sharing this with the community. And I think, it's like that was just a nice little relaxing. I'm still coming back here. My brain's still turning back on.
Yeah. I know that's the setup to all of the active breathing with the music where the deeper work goes into. But that setup process is really important for giving our body and those instructions to our subconscious of what we want to work on.
Now, I think, my whole goal with this episode is to get more people connected to you and to share something that I feel like is a superpower for dealing with whether it's stress or lack of clarity or overwhelm. It's a tool you can put in your toolkit to be able to help you get through the challenges that come from running a business, and not just running a business, but like thriving, right? Running a business and having a life that you really love, and being healthy, having good relationships. It's all hard to do. And it's work. And if you can have some additional tools in your toolkit when things get tough to bring you back to reality and bring you back to yourself, I'm all
Amen
for it.
to that.
So, Carson, thank you so much. And so people can go check it out at createmeditation.com, right? And is there anything specific that they need to sign up for? I know you said should they book a free 10-minute call, or what should they fill out to be able to set up with you?
Yeah, exactly. Probably the easiest call to action right in the main banner or the main image on the homepage. If you just book a free 10-minute call, that will take you to the form. And within the form, just put eCommerce influence and how you heard about Create Meditation. And
cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting as many of you as I can. And really thank you, Austin, for having me on to talk about breathing and mindfulness and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And I wish everyone the best to create the best version of themselves.
And I'll throw another plug out there too for the book, Breath or Breathe. I'm not sure. I think it's Breath.
Oh, yeah. I actually, I'm going to throw out, Breath by James Nestor. If you want to learn about breathing, Breath by James Nestor is in my top 2. That, and then The Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McEwen. Both phenomenal books. I feel very kind of versed now after going through some training. Those books, like the science of breath is amazing, what we can do. So those 2 for breathing. Anything on the spiritual side, I'll give a plug to Dr. Joe Dispenza. All of his work is amazing. Becoming Supernatural is a great one. And I think my other kind of spiritual one is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. both those are great in the Brickell and spiritual realm. Yeah, I love reading. Reading's great.
And the Joe Dispenza meditations are pretty epic as well. I feel like it's hard to understand his
Yes.
book until you do a meditation.
100%.
They go hand in hand a little bit. So yeah, I listened to Breath by James Nestor on a drive down the California coast, and I thought it was epic. And it was really, really just an interesting science plus, it's like a science take on why this stuff is really, really important. And that's why I tape my mouth at night for sleeping, which sounds crazy to a lot of people, but it's been really helpful for my sleeping.
Yeah, as a little gift to everyone, something to take away from this, like what's like a practical tool I can use. And this comes from that book. The optimal breathing rate for humans is 5.5 seconds. So it's 5.5 seconds in, 5.5 seconds out. I tell people that I work with, like, don't worry about the half. Either pick 5 or pick 6, whatever feels more comfortable to you. But at any moment, if you are feeling stressed or anxious, you just want to come back down to center. All you need to do is pull out your phone and go to the stopwatch within like the time and just look at it and breathe 5 in or 5 out or 6 in, 6 out. Just do that for like 2 to 3 minutes, even 5 minutes. It's amazing what that does to the body coming back to center. So yeah, if you're ever in a jam, you're like, I need something, that's a great one. And I'll throw out box breathing is another one. If you're feeling really stressed out and you want to come back to center, box breathing. And for those who don't know what box breathing is, it's a cadence. Military is really big on this. It's a cadence of breathing in, let's say for 5, then you hold for 5, then you exhale for 5, and then hold for 5, and that finishes the box. So in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5, hold for 5. You do that over and over again, you will definitely activate the parasympathetic and really come back down. So those two little tools you can take in your toolbox, and hopefully that helps.
Carson, thank you so much for hopping on with me.
Yeah, likewise, man. This was a long time coming. It was a pleasure, and I wish you the best, man. Especially on your new, gotta call it out again, the new adventures of being a upcoming dad. I think that is so exciting.
Thanks, Carson.